here are some books that I am terrified to read. The first book is The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang, and I have heard the most terrifying stories about this book, of how sad, and I've seen so many people cry and sob over it. It is a trilogy, and it's about a girl named Rin, and I believe the first one's kind of about her going to this military school, but I need to know what people are talking about, but I just don't think my heart can take it. I've heard just absolutely terrifying things about the series, like, I'm way too intimidated by it, so I should read it because I know it will be really good, and I kind of like wartime setting books, but this one looks terrifying. The second book is The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna, and this is about two sisters in World War II, and I have, again, heard the most terrifying and sad things about this book. I mean, it's about World War II, and I like kind of history books as well, but I have just had people sob their eyes out and say this is the best book ever, but I am just so intimidated by it. Like, I'm scared. I don't know what's gonna happen. It has such a high expectation in my mind, too, so if it's not as good as I want it to be, I'm kind of scared about that, but I've heard such good things about this book. The next book is Crescent City, House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas, and this is her first book in her Crescent City series, and I just finished Throne of Glass, and I am done with ACOTAR, and this is the next series, but people say this first book and maybe the second one are pretty good, but the third one is not very good. I've heard not very good reviews about it, and I'm just terrified that this book is not going to live up to ACOTAR or Throne of Glass in any way, and I want to read it, but it's like an urban fantasy, so they have phones and stuff. I'm like, that kind of draws me away. I'm like, I don't really want to read about that. But I'm probably going to read it because it's by Sarah J. Maas. I have to. The next book is City of Bones by Cassandra Clare, and this is another big, giant series that I would have to read. I think there's maybe 10, 20-ish books or something. I don't know the exact number, but I've heard that these first books are kind of difficult to get through because of certain tropes and stuff that happens in them, but I've had this one on my shelf for the longest time, and I'm just too scared to start it. I don't really know much about the series in general. It's just such a big series, and I'm intimidated by it. And the last book is From Blood and Ash by Jennifer Armentrout, and I have heard that this series drags on a little bit and is a bit repetitive, but the prequel series is literally the best thing anyone's ever read. It is so, so good. So I'm a little nervous to have to get through this series before that one, just to see what everyone's raving about, but I've heard good things about this series. It's just, I don't necessarily like the idea of reading a series that I'm not going to find as good, or if I'm going to find repetitive to get to a different series within it, but I just heard way too many good things about the prequel series of this series, so I need to read it.